checking out Matty Balls. Pause.
What do you mean by that?
How to fall off into money. Into more money, actually. Let's see. You don't see what dog talking about.
There are a few things they can do. They can gracefully disappear into the abyss. They can continue to release music for their... When an artist's career begins to fall off, there are a few things they can do. They can gracefully disappear into the abyss, they can continue to release music for their core audience, regardless of how small it may be, or they can live in denial, maintaining they are still relevant in their own fantasy world. But there's a secret fourth, arguably much more annoying option, and that's when an artist is vicious.
How do you fall off and have a core audience, though? Like, I get not being as successful as you once were, but that ain't a fall off, G. That's you just not, like, Currency never fell off, right? You can never say Currency fell off. Currency never fell off. Currency has just had his core fan base that he's always made music to. Like,
clawing at any opportunity they can to remain relevant and make money. Whether it be grifting into politics, doing never-ending press runs and creating content, or switching genres entirely with the hope of finding a new audience, there are a lot of different ways.
They say Drake be making that cheese in South America, bro. They say his fan base, and I'm talking about Drake Bell, not Champagne Poppy. Pause.
What do you mean by that?
But they said he make cheese in South America with his music.
Artists can fall off into more money. So today I wanted to look into a few of these ways, starting off with political grifting. In this video I wanted to look into a handful of recent examples.
Please.
And Nicki Minaj is probably one of the biggest and best examples, especially recently, as she's been going full force into politics and attracting a ton of attention. Throughout most of her career, the majority of her Trump-related comments were negative and disapproving. Like in 2016 when she dissed Trump on her track titled Black Barbies, a freestyle remix of Ray Shremmerd's Black Beatles. In the song, Nicki mentioned her Trinidadian heritage in disagreement with Trump's deportation policies, saying, "Island girl, Donald Trump want me go home." So while short, simple, and not very aggressive, the line did imply to fans that Nicki was not pro-Trump. And in 2018, she also doubled down. Once Trump took office, Nicki publicly opposed several policies associated with his administration, specifically those that dealt with family separation on the US-Mexico border. In a since-deleted IG post, she wrote, "I came to this country as an illegal immigrant at 5 years old. I can't imagine the horror of being in a strange place and having my parents stripped away from me at the age of 5. This is so scary to me. Please stop this." While the post didn't mention Trump directly, it was a clear opposition to his policies and beliefs. Then in 2020, it seemed as if she was further cementing her political position. When asked about her feelings on Trump, she said, "I don't like that. I get that a lot of people don't like him for obvious reasons, but what stuck with me was the children being taken away from their parents when they came into the country. That really bothered me because I was one of those immigrant children coming to America to flee poverty, and I couldn't imagine a little child going through all of that, trying to get to another country because they didn't have money in their country, or whether you're fleeing from war." However, to be fair, Nicki had made a couple of comments over the years that had fans giving her the side eye, like praising Trump for being funny or making strange comments about being Republican. Overall though, it did seem pretty obvious where Nicki stood politically, at least until it didn't. This all pretty much got flipped upside down in 2021 during the whole Nicki Minaj COVID controversy. Basically, when Nicki didn't go to the Met Gala because of its vaccine requirements, many were curious why she didn't want to get it. So she tweeted, "My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it." And
I'm saying, I don't know how politically correct this is. Obviously, people know I'm not a Trump supporter. That's not what I am. I'm not into them vibes. I'm not even into a political scene. But I didn't never get the vaccine. Like, I never thought that I needed to get that shit, to be honest with you. Like, what was the point? Shit. I got COVID like 4 different times. Like, I was like, shit, what's the point of getting a vaccine?
Became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied. Well, not directly mentioning politics, by this point vaccine skepticism was pretty much heavily associated with Trump and his party, so a lot of fans thought this tweet was irresponsible. There was some other similar stuff to this that happened, but overall, most of these situations seemed natural and didn't appear to be for clout or any sort of massive attention. If anything, especially due to her own history with immigration, Nikki's initial anti-Trump political views made sense. And while she may have sprinkled in a debatable Trump compliment or two, it still did seem like, though, for years overall she was pretty much against Trump and everything he stood for. But just a couple of years later, Nicki Minaj would have a major shift. The big shift was last year in 2025, when Nicki supported Trump after the president posted on Truth Social about the persecution.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Of Christians in Nigeria. Then, as a little cherry on top, she spoke at the United Nations on behalf of the Trump administration about the Nigeria Christian stuff.
I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage and calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief.
Instead of apologizing or dispelling rumors over the recent posts, Nicki clapped back, specifically about the transphobic allegations. She said, "Imagine hearing that Christians are being murdered and making it about you being gay. When my home was swatted multiple times with my innocent toddler inside, with maybe 20 officers with guns drawn pointed at our home due to political corruption, you being gay couldn't save me." Expecting someone to stay oppressed, abused, targeted, harassed, and consistently ignored by public figures who were supposed to be helping them says more about you than it does anyone else. I'm not sure what someone being gay is supposed to do about her getting swatted. I don't know if she thought super gay was going to come save them, but then she doubled down on the controversial trans takes, specifically going at Gavin Newsom in a series of tweets. At this point, it wasn't just fans going after Nicki, there was also other celebrities doing it as well, especially since the right and politicians on the right were embracing Nicki Minaj. But if people were upset before at what she was doing, Nicki's next move took things to a whole nother level. In December of 2025, Nicki Minaj made her most shocking move yet when she notoriously appeared on stage alongside Erica Kirk at Turning Point USA's America Fest. The appearance itself was a surprise, but not the only one that night. During the Q&A, Nicki continued to express conservative and other controversial political views, leading to one especially viral moment.
You have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president. And you have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine.
Aside from that Freudian slip, Nicki also said, "I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president. I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win, and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact." So if it wasn't already blatantly clear, Nicki Minaj had chosen a side politically, and fans were pissed. Nicki showing up to Turning Point USA was ironic in general because Turning Point was created by Charlie Kirk, who was notoriously not a fan of Nicki Minaj, and actually routinely brought her up as an example of being a bad influence.
Right now, black culture is being held captive by influences, songs, and role models. I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't.
In just days following the event, Nicki lost over 10 million followers on Instagram. So this begs the question, did Nicki Minaj...
Didn't she delete her Instagram? Right? No, my phone died. I think she deleted her Instagram.
Changed sides because she was truly frustrated and really wanted to change her mind? Or was this all part of a grift trying to steal more attention towards her crumbling career? Whether it be because of her beef with Cardi B, her beef with Megan Thee Stallion, or her predator husband, Nicki Minaj just isn't where she used to be.
Her beef with every
that's pretty apparent.
new
She's
artist.
gotten some of the most attention she has in the past couple of years, following all of her political activism as of late. While some of her passionate fan base has stuck with her through it all, even some of the most loyal were put off by the recent media appearances. So it's hard to say for sure if someone's a grifter, because Nicki could genuinely believe what she's been saying. However, based on years of other sentiments and expressed ideals, it makes that seem unlikely, which is why her, along with others lately, are getting these sort of accusations. It seems there's been a shift culturally, especially after the death of Charlie Kirk, where conservative media is getting a lot more attention than it may have 10 years ago. So it is possible that a pivot to
Charlie Kirk was my age. Me and Charlie Kirk were almost exactly the same age, actually. Do I think, like, you want somebody killed? You want somebody murdered? No. No. For always told people, I would, even in self-defense, I would hate to kill somebody. Because I don't even want that on my conscience. But in general, I don't understand that sentiment of it. I don't agree with Charlie Kirk. I don't agree with anything that he said. Probably not anything. There's probably some things that we probably agreed on, but I think that's mainly just based off of us both being 32-year-olds. Not anything else. Not political. Not, it would probably be things about sports or something like that. Because it would never be anything like that, bro. But I just look at it and I think, like, the level of experience that young man had and what he did was high. But the level of experience that he's had in life was not. Again, that's like listening to me for your political views. Why would you do that? A dude who is watching a kid named Matty Balls right now talk about the biggest liars in the hip hop game. You don't think Charlie Kirk sat at home and watched shit like that? I'm not trying to humanize him. I'm just trying to say, you put too much weight in these platforms and these people, and you don't even look at it and realize, like, what 32-year-old do you listen to for political advice? What 32-year-old do any of us listen to for political advice? None. That don't even make sense. And again, I'm not trying to say, I understand people propped him up to use him as a puppet, as a scapegoat, as a figurehead, as an echo chamber. Whether they was his thoughts or not. They are sentiments of other thoughts. But I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, that's how you know that you shouldn't be listening to the motherfucker. Because he ain't even lived life enough to even come up with his own fucking opinions on shit. So how you listening to somebody who ain't even lived like, bro, again, I'm 32. I'm struggling. I'm scratching and surviving. Good times. I'm like, nigga. I have a multi-layered family, different ethnicities, different levels, different layers. An American product, if you've ever seen one. So it's just one of them things. I'm like, nah, bro. There's no way I look at another 32-year-old. You gotta be real estate. You gotta be making money doing other. You can't be making money making content, my nigga. How you trusting a nigga who make money making content? Huh? That's the reason why I don't be trying to talk about no real shit. Because anything I talk about, y'all better go look it up and make sure I'm right. Because if not, then you believe in a nigga who didn't even double check the shit before he said it on the fucking camera. That's what you getting from a lot of people. That's what I would hear when I hear Charlie Kirk. That's what I hear when I hear what's his name? Ben Shapiro. When I hear these dudes, I hear people who are lying. They're liars. They don't know what they're saying half the time. Some of the things that they're saying, they have so little experience in that realm, you can hear it as soon as they talk about it. It's just they're 32-year-olds talking to 18-year-olds. Instead of talking to 50-something-year-olds or 60-something-year-olds or other 30-fucking-2-year-olds.
Politics could be monetarily beneficial to Nicki Minaj, especially when her career is pretty much in the gutter. And if you still aren't sure that Nicki was grifting politically, it's extremely obvious that Lil Pump is. Lil Pump blew up back in 2017, primarily because of his breakout single, Gucci Gang. While he undeniably got super popular out of nowhere, even if some of his songs were catchy, it seemed like his fall off was inevitable, especially since his music didn't have a lot of variety or depth, which partly became the subject of his beef with J. Cole. However, while the two rappers ended up squashing that beef, J. Cole pretty much predicted the fall off that soon followed. Pump's peak only lasted a couple of years max. As I'm sure many of you are aware, Lil Pump fell off pretty hard after his 15 minutes of fame. And by 2020, pretty much no one was paying attention to him, which is what led him to start his grift. At first, Pump mainly talked about taxes being the reason he liked Trump.
I gotta say is Trump 20.
I want to add some guitar. Do you know how to make music? No, of course not. Okay. What's up, guys? We're here at the
2020, bitch. I look like paying an extra 33 in tax for Biden, bitch ass. Sleepy Joe, nigga, Trump 2020, bitch.
But during the 2020 election, Pump posted more and more about him, eventually making it into a ton of headlines and becoming a major part of his brand. Then things went to the next level when Pump started appearing at rallies. However,
nobody who listens to Lil Pump can even vote, bro. There was nobody at this time who listened to Lil Pump who could even vote. There's no way. There was no adults
appearing at quickly turned into appearing
bullshit.
In, which eventually led to the viral moment when Trump mispronounced Pump's name when inviting him on stage.
And speaking of sound, music, and other things, one of the big superstars of the world, Little
Superstars? Okay. Alright, nah, nigga. You
big superstars of the world, Little Pimp.
Little Pimp?
There he is. How's it going? Do you want to come up and say something? Come on. Does everyone know who he is? Do you know how big he is?
Hello, everybody. How you guys feeling? I come here.
I'm saying, hey, look, all hate. Yes, but to get invited on stage by the president, because he was president at this time, right? He was doing his re-election.
Or was he president? I appreciate everything you've done for our country. You brought the troops home, and you're doing the right thing.
Hey, if you one of these type niggas, that's like being a shit. What they call that? Middle class black man and getting invited on stage by Barack Obama. That's like if Tom from the Boondocks had met Barack Obama and got him invited on stage. That's exactly how this is. Same thing.
MAGA 2020. Don't forget that. And do not vote for Sleepy Joe at all.
Pump even dropped a song called Lil Pimp Big MAGA Steppin'.
Lil Pimp, ooh, Lil Pimp, ooh, Lil Pimp.
This was all very ironic because back in 2016, Lil Pump tweeted Donald Trump and really wasn't a fan. After Trump's loss in 2020, Pump's support for Trump fell off rapidly, and he even began deleting old posts. Eventually, it was revealed Pump wasn't even registered to vote in 2020. So for the next few years, Pump went pretty much politically dormant. That was until the 2024 election came around. As the race started picking up and was dominating the media, Pump decided it was time to get back on board. One of the first things he did was get Trump's mugshot tatted on his thigh. Then he started posting a bunch of content about this stuff.
I swear on my dad's grave, if this stupid ass bitch come out here as soon as the fucking election, I'm moving out of America, boy. I swear on everything.
And then he dropped a pro-Trump song.
Patriotic as apple pie.
Why that nigga look like Mario with them big ass gloves on, bro? What the fuck wrong with this nigga? Look at this nigga, bro. This nigga like he about to go smack a nigga with a turtle shell.
Then in the
Bullshit ass
classic
song.
grifter fashion, he announced a Pump and Trump NFT, which, you know, just looked horrible. So like I said to begin with, unlike the Nicki situation, it's much more obvious that he was doing a lot of this for attention, especially considering the fact that he was fairly irrelevant until all of the political stuff. These were some of the biggest examples I could think of in terms of political grifts. However, there are some others. I mean, even recently, NBA YoungBoy fell under criticism for what he said in an interview about Trump.
Message, make America slime again. Like, what does that title mean to you?
I mean, follow whatever Trump applying.
Follow whatever Trump applying.
Yeah.
What in what way? Like,
in every way.
Well, you know, Trump.
That nigga look like everybody custo uncle in every way. All right, good seeing.
Pardoned you, got you off house arrest.
This nigga on them drugs.
What you mean? Did you ever speak to him about, like, did you ever have a... Right.
This does make sense though, since Trump apparently pardoned him, and he even wrote him a thank you note on social media. Snoop was kicking it with Trump, Waka Flocka, Soulja, and others went to events. I mean, Kodak Black and 5E04 even made a Trump anthem. Although Kodak makes sense because Trump pardoned him, so I can get that. Regardless, political grifting, especially nowadays, is probably...
Do Kodak get the pass because he got pardoned? So he should be the only person right now out of everybody?
One of the biggest ways artists can remain relevant.
I might be able to
but
get
there
with
are
that.
also other slightly less controversial methods that artists can use to keep their names in the headlines.
I get with
and I
that.
think one of the best methods you can do in 2026 is through content creation. Recently, streaming in particular has become one of the biggest things in media right now. Guys on the top like Kai Cenat have had numerous major
Kai
rappers
Cenat.
including Drake, 21 Savage, Lil Uzi, Lil Yachty, Kodak. Hello?
Oh my God, Dylan. Everyone watching how we shoot our podcast. We shoot everything inside.
Snoop, and more. These guys are making appearances for a reason, and in a lot of cases it's for attention or promotion. As Vice puts it, we're currently in an industry where streamers want to be rappers and rappers want to be streamers. But no one has a problem with artists giving their fans a look into how things go down behind the scenes or what their daily life looks like. The problem arises when an artist is annoyingly clinging to past fame in streams or videos or whatever else online, saying and doing ridiculous things trying to maintain their relevancy. And I think the best example of this is 6ix9ine. At his peak, and aside from the gimmicks, it seemed like he had
6ix9ine kind of snapping right now, though. I don't know.
He was for as long as he was. But after some pretty big career-killing controversies and arguably repetitive music, he fell out of the mainstream pretty hard. So what did he do to keep the spotlight? Content. One of 6ix9ine's main strategies, even when he was relevant, was to be as loud and obnoxious as possible, so his name was always in the headlines. And nowadays, 6ix9ine leveraged a new booming industry to try to hold on to a music career that was doomed for failure. Basically, despite suffering multiple cancellations, 6ix9ine now uses wild takes and shock content to create a bunch of viral clips. And in an era where algorithms make stars, he kinda has figured it out. A big part of his recent success has followed his viral appearance with DJ Vlad, where he gave new details on things like his beef with Trippie Redd and even about being locked up with Diddy.
Did you and Diddy have conversations?
Yeah, we spoke. The first thing he said to me, he laughed. He's like, "Yo, that's crazy how we meet, right?" And you know, it was everybody there. We gave a hug and all that shit. I mean, like, yo,
everybody was there.
That's what I said, yo, why you never invited me to the party?
Niggas hugged each other in the fucking shower. That's what they did. That's what they did.
That's what I said to him. Huh?
This clip and others like it racked up millions of views, which led to other recent appearances with creators like Aiden Ross or Neon. As Rolling Stone puts it, he's a literal clip factory. I mean, he even appeared in a diss song with popular streamers Aiden Ross and Cuff 'Em, which went super viral. And let's not forget the entire skit he made when 21 Savage briefly referenced him on a song.
Is it this she wants? Bloody hell. I need it. You are a traitor to this country. I need it.
At this point, 6ix9ine is a content creator. He actually claimed that he was the first clip farmer and has always done.
I don't be paying attention to none of these niggas.
This, saying he doesn't need to do it to be relevant.
Let me get this point across. And maybe I say I'm reaching, but this is what I truly believe. When my content creator in 2018.
Having DJ Academics, Aiden Ross, and 6ix9ine in the same room, if I walked in and I saw these three niggas, I know my life gonna change. Probably for the worse, though. Probably for the motherfucking worst. If I walk into a room of acceptable people and they be like, oh yeah, bro, come on. And then I walk into the room and it's Aiden Ross, DJ Academics, and 6ix9ine. I guess Jesus gave up on me. And he said, go ahead with the devil in them. You might get further. Because goddamn.
Me running up a hill with AK-47, me running down the hall that everybody was copying. You remember that? Y'all was in high school.
Yeah.
I walked so y'all could run, so streamers could.
I agree. You created like you're like the first clip farmer.
Aiden Ross.
I agree.
So
I'll say it. You are.
When Vine was a thing, remember Instagram? I was the original content creator.
No, you
like me.
Original content creator? Suck dick, bro.
Message wrong messenger, right? But these is facts.
But I heard through the grapevine from a very credible source, he's doing all this content to pay back the IRS. I mentioned in my Downfall of 6ix9ine video that he's millions of dollars in debt to the feds. So a lot of creators are actually paying him big money to collaborate with them. They get views and go viral, and he gets to pay back the government. Ironically, in the cyclical nature of his career, he's now back in jail. And he even made content out of turning himself in.
That nigga back in jail already?
Because of how successful this pivot from music to content was, especially this rage bait, clip farm, degenerate sort of content, it's no surprise that we can't seem to get rid of 6ix9ine. At the end of the day, people love to be angry and people love drama. But he's not the only one, since other musicians who are wavering in popularity, albeit in different ways, like Ice Spice, have jumped into content as well. In the end, as gimmicky as it might be, he might have a point. For example, DDG talked about how streaming is getting more lucrative in an interview with academics, saying, "For what I signed for, I made that in 30 days on Twitch." At this point, we're nearing an industry where drama outweighs the music itself, all due to the money. So 6ix9ine and all of his gimmicks will help him hang on to his previous music career and remain somewhat relevant. But 6ix9ine isn't only claiming to be a trailblazer in content either, as he's also used his Latino heritage to his advantage as well. Political grifting and making content, especially rage bait content, are two of the main ways I've seen people try to remain relevant, but switching genres seems to be another one of the top ways. And usually it isn't just switching genres, but it's switching markets entirely. While 6ix9ine may have been rejected from the mainstream rap industry, it doesn't mean he was kicked out of music as a whole. As a result of being outed from rap, he decided to pursue Latin music instead. And it worked. If you look at his YouTube page, the Latin music stands out by far, often getting 10 times or more views than his traditional songs. For example, his track Pati hit 160 million views. And for a while after that, a lot of his other Latin tracks did solid as well, hitting tens of millions of views. After getting a bunch of traction in the Latin industry, he tried to do his old style, but this time it didn't do so well. So it's pretty obvious in the massive Latin market, 6ix9ine does better, even if he would rather be making songs like his rap track.
Did you lose a lot of money sports betting on DraftKings or FanDuel?
No, I did not.
Tracks. However, another good reason he may be indulging in this market is because Spanish language media has been especially poor about reporting on the story regarding 6ix9ine's past, especially the weird stuff with kids. So many new fans or even big names he's collaborating with could have no clue about the grifting they're supporting. This viral tweet here says, "You know somebody fell off when they start making FIFA music." And the viral tweet is a 6ix9ine Latin song. So clearly the fans are aware of this too. But there are actually a lot of other artists that do this. For example, Lil Pump went this route, although his efforts weren't quite as successful. In 2021, Lil Pump dropped his first all-Spanish song. Unlike 6ix9ine though, his didn't really do nearly as well, but it did get a couple million views, which was a lot better than what he was doing at the time. Ironically though, instead of sticking to what worked, he moved on and didn't focus on Latin music that much, which pretty much meant continuing to get little to no attention on his new stuff. It's ironic, I guess Lil Pump can't even grift right. Although as blatant as the genre is for Pump and 6ix9ine, at least both of them are from Latin descent, so it kind of makes sense. Drake Bell, on the other hand, his whole situation doesn't make sense at all. You might be wondering, Drake Bell, like from Drake and Josh?
Yeah.
Yes, Drake from Drake and Josh is now making Latin music. He's mostly known for being an actor throughout his career,
I was
but he's also simultaneously
watching a video where him and Josh were talking to each other about that shit.
In the years following the show, he's released a few albums, including one in 2005, one in 2006, one in 2014, and one in 2020. While they got some success, they were never really that popular, and he really only ever appeared on headlines for his on and off feuds with his old co-star Josh. In 2018, though, there was an unexpected twist when he released his first Spanish single and tweeted that he would only be writing in Spanish going forward. And he wasn't just talking about music, he meant across social media as well, which which is just a crazy pivot, especially considering the fact that he's not ethnically Latino in the slightest. But he doubled down nonetheless, posting a picture with his new Mexican ID, displaying his new last name, Campana, or Campaña, which means bell in Spanish. However, while all of this was going down, he also was going through some pretty tough controversies. First was abuse allegations from his ex, and second was his 2021 conviction for attempted child endangerment, which stemmed from a 2017 incident with a 15-year-old girl. Regardless, he was sentenced to 2 years of probation, 200 hours of community service, and was required to register as an offender. So it wouldn't be that surprising if this big switch to Latin music was some sort of crisis response to everything falling apart, pivoting to a new market that may not be aware of those things. So overall, considering he's been broke multiple times and even went bankrupt, combined with his similarly tracking media presence, it's fair enough to assume that the switch was a pivot taking advantage of the surging Latin music industry. On top of this, there's a lot of artists that fall off but then tour in other places like Europe or Australia, where they may have much stronger audiences. For example, the artist Kill Station, who used to collaborate with XXXTentacion back in the day, is huge in Russia. So there are a lot of ways artists can fall off and earn money, some of which are much more annoying and obviously grifts than others. There are a few other things artists do when they fall off, like starting an OnlyFans or, on the complete inverse, becoming a pastor. So if you want to know what other artists do when they fall off, make sure to click the video that's on screen right.
Shout out Matty Balls, another dope for me. Appreciate you as always. That boy be doing his thing. Hanging it up. Banging the beats. Banging the beats. Banging the beats.